What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The David Lopez Show, presented by Passion Park ENT. I am glad to be back. As you can see if you're watching and not listening, I have a tank top on, I got shorts on. It is beautiful outside. It's been great weather here in the Midwest, and I'm imagining mostly across the country. It was a really warm weekend here for Memorial Day weekend. It's been, everybody's outside. The thing about only some places being open and it's like in between is like people are kind of forced to go outside because you're trying to do something outside of the crib. So there was just a lot of people outside. So that's good, doing things outside, running around a little bit, shooting around, playing some hoops. I did some yard work this week. What's going on with me? I'm growing up here. We'll get into some of those things during this episode. But before that, you know what I always do. I got to tell y'all where to find my music. And this is an especially awesome week for me music-wise because I'm dropping a new EP on Friday. It's called Chapters. Really excited to get it out there. I know I've been mentioning it over the past, honestly, 2 months. I was trying to drop this 2 months ago. There's a lot of things a lot of moving parts that went into that. But nonetheless, the album comes out this week. So if you go to www.thedavidlopez.com, I tried to just say www. It's kind of a tongue twister. www. There we go. All right, www.thedavidlopez.com. You can find all my music. The podcast is highlighted there. It's pretty much my music and my podcast on that site. If you go to thedavidlopez.com/chapters, you can actually buy the project right now. I dropped this little tad bit of info at the end of my set on Friday night, which I'll talk about real quick. But I put this little teaser or prize at the end of the set. I said for anybody who listened to the end of the set, I didn't post it on social media. I didn't do anything like that. But you could get the album already. So if you go to thedavidlopez.com chapters, it is available, or /chapters, I'm sorry. It is available to listen to, kind of. I mean, you can listen to parts of it, but you can also buy it for as low as $1. I just made it so that you can set your own price. So $1 and up, whatever you want to get on there, you can get the album. So I hope you enjoy it. And then going with that, tomorrow night is Wednesday night. I have a new music video premiering for that album. It's called Paranoia. That song is it's the one song from this new project that is it has to come out now, or it could have come out 2 months ago because it's so directly related to the quarantine and what we've been dealing with. And the music video is as well. So I'm excited to drop that. Actually, that's one of those music videos that, I mean, everything is solo right now. I'm doing everything solo dolo, but I showed that to my wife, and she sees all my shit. She hears all my shit, sees all my shit. So it's whatever at a certain point. But that's one that she was like, yeah, I think that's my favorite video from you so far. I like it. And she said she liked the song too. That's one of those things where I was just like, oh shit, maybe it's good. We'll see. So that's all that stuff. But then if you want to follow a lot of my film stuff, we got some short films, we got web series, we got a lot of every single album I've done, I have some sort of film projects to go along with it, whether it be music videos, web series, short films, something like that. Go to www.passionparkent.com. You can find all that stuff. It's kind of cool because I use Wix for my websites. This is not a sponsorship for Wix, but if they want me to sponsor them, I'll do it because I actually really do like Wix. I know a lot of people use Squarespace, but I've always used Wix and I actually really like it. But I have I can message people when they visit the website. And so every night I'll get some people, I just get notifications you have a site visitor from Columbus or from Columbia or wherever from, and then if you need to talk with them, if they have any questions, you can answer. But last night I had a visitor, an active user on the site from Medellin, Colombia. And I'm like, Pablo Escobar type shit, you know what I'm saying? So I just want to say thank you to everybody who's checking out our shit or who's watching anything, supporting in any way. It's meant the world. Yeah. Let's get past this stuff. I had a little more to say today because of Chapters. Like I said, this EP, I'm very excited about it. But let's move past that. Let's get into the start of today's show, baby.
David Lopez is the name. It's my show. Welcome to it.
I'm looking at this view that I have for myself today in this room. First off, it's super bright. I'm sure some people who, if you've ever watched this, you're like, what? The lighting is always so different here. I still don't have shades in this new room or this new office that I have here. If you watched, I saw on, I'll mention this a little bit later, but on Friday I did a special show in my basement. It wasn't exactly a live set, but it was a show. I did a full set in my basement, but I set it up so that stage, I don't want to say stage, but that that room, that set looks, much different than this. It honestly almost looks more like a talk show. And I was like, oh, I could do the podcast down there. But this is the podcast studio. I'm not trying to move it down there. Plus, it's way more echoey because it's a basement, like a storage room type basement shit. But I like the way it looked. If you guys had any comments as to how the set should be, just let me know. But I gotta get some fucking shades in this goddamn office because this light's coming in, and you see my kneecaps right here, baby. That's what I'm trying to show off. Okay, so you know what we're gonna do, because we've been doing this for the past couple of weeks, and I'm trying to just keep it going a little bit, especially with TikTok now. It seems pretty easy. There's always a viral clip every week. But we're going to do what we've been doing with our clip of the week. Oh, yeah. This is a wild-like, nature-like clip. This thing went viral, but my brother texted me this last week. I think my brother is going to be very responsible for a lot of the clips here during this, because he always sends me some hilarious clips, which is great, and it keeps me in tune with some of these viral hilariousness things. All right, so this, I wish I was trying to figure out where this is from. I gotta assume Virginia, Montana, or not Montana. Well, it could be Montana, but I'm thinking somewhere like West Virginia, Virginia-ish. Okay, this is from the TikTok page of Madly Explore. It's on the video, so she should see that. But shout out to her. I think it's her. Shout out to her page. Want to give credit where credit is due. But anyways, all right. So it's some people observing a real life bear going up to their car, but their reaction is pretty priceless here.
Are you sure you locked the door, Lucas?
It's a big ass fucking bear.
Oh, he's coming back for seconds.
She says, "Are you sure you locked the door?" That's
Run
how
down
this
and
starts.
close your door.
He's inside the tree.
Oh, there he is.
Run down and close your door. I'm gonna pause that right where we're at. This guy. So she said, "Are you sure you locked your door?" As this bear is kind of near her sweet Mercedes Benz, and then he goes, "Run down there and lock your door." Are you fucking insane? This guy just says, "Hey, just go do it, girl. You got it." Now this bear is approaching this Mercedes. Let's see what happens.
Don't go back to the car.
Don't fuck up the Mercedes. Oh shit!
Oh shit! All right, that was pretty great. Is their reaction with the bear? His reaction? Oh my god! I watched it the first time, but I didn't really watch it again. Now watching it now is so fucking funny. Their reactions are. All right. I'm gonna run this back a little bit. The fact that, let's just talk about this real quick. The bear comes up to the car door. Now, obviously, you're gonna be worried about your car no matter what. Clearly, the bear was near the car before, because they had already said, "Is he going back to the car?" And is the car parked there because they had to get out because they saw the bear? Is that why? Because it kind of doesn't even look like a parking spot. It just looks like it's randomly sitting in this lot. The bear casually approaches this car. This is amazing to me. See, I got to learn. I don't know enough about these kind of animals and stuff, but he casually, I don't know, he or she casually opens the door like they know how to get the handle and just open it and just back off like that. All right, but then my favorite part is the way, obviously they're screaming, but then the way the bear reacts after he opens it looks so shocked. When I showed this video to my wife, when my brother sent it to me the first time, she was like, "Oh, that's not real, right?" That, like, she thought there was a person in the bear suit because of the way this bear stands up. Right here.
Oh shit!
Oh, shit! Oh, what the fuck?
The bear is just standing there like, oh, and he just runs away. I want to give a big shout out to the person who saved their car right there. Was the person who goes, "What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?" Because they're all screaming, but that person's reaction is my favorite, and I think the bear heard the "what the fucks," and he just goes. The way the bear just stands there, like, it does kind of look like there could be a human in that bear suit, like it's a prank show. It's so that is. Man, that really got me one of those last. We're going to, you know what, one more fucking time. Just. That's maybe my favorite one so far. Well, that was our clip of the week. Oh man, that was so funny. What's even funnier is I was getting ready to record this podcast this morning, and it depends. Sometimes you wake and bake and smoke. Sometimes you don't. I was like, nah, I want to record this podcast and then I'll smoke after. If I'd have been high during that, was even more laughing. I don't know. I don't know if I could have laughed more than that. That was fucking phenomenal. I am so happy that I decided to break that clip. I didn't even break it down. I just want to watch it and laugh. Oh my fuck. Oh God. All right. So I hope you enjoyed that. As I mentioned in the beginning, I did a So Much More 2, my fourth album, which came out May 22nd, 2019. Turned 1 year old on Friday, so that was the 1 year anniversary of it. I'm proud of that album. My longest project to date, 22 songs, over an hour of music. Took me a couple of years to make it. I mean, there was other projects that came in between, but just the span of when I started recording it to when I finished it and put it out was a little over 2 years. I believe it was a little over 2 years. But anyways, I did an anniversary show from my basement. It's got a fair amount of views so far, and some people commented and some people show me some love. So I want to say thank you to all of them. I tried to highlight some charities and organizations you can donate for during the show. I wasn't trying. It's interesting because a lot of people are doing that, like donate to charities, and so I'm just. You're always it kind of goes back to what I was talking about last week with the LeBron thing, is like it's so much easier to be cynical now because everybody is just doing shit. You don't know what's authentic and not. And so like I wasn't trying to take advantage of people's need or want to donate or whatever. Now I wasn't trying to be like, you should watch because look, you should donate. I just thought it was another cool thing to have during the show because in all honesty, so I had like the tickers going by and then I had like the foundations coming in, because in all honesty, when you watch a concert from your crib, especially when you're not watching me at like a stage with fans there. So it's like you're just seeing me in the basement perform my songs, and it's cool. I try to do as much as I could with the lighting. I try to do those things. I tried to make it interesting. And obviously I'm performing like, for real, like rapping. I'm fucking up and shit, so you can hear the mess ups. But I thought it adds another element to it where you can incorporate yourself into the show. Almost you can look up these foundations as the show's going on. Those kind of things. I kind of like just the other element that it added, and plus it's a good cause. I know I donated to a couple of them during the show. I was trying to do that, not during my performance, but so I recorded the performance before, and then I watched it live with everybody else as it premiered on YouTube. And I was trying to donate and do some things like that. And I might do something similar to that this Friday for Chapters. Actually, I am going to. Probably not on Friday, but there will be a Chapters special show that comes out that I'm going to do where I'm just going to perform the EP in its entirety. And then Friday, I'll probably just go live, just do like a party, just to release. I think I might do a special edition happy hour live on Friday, just for the Chapters release party. So that's what I got on that front. So let's get into more of the motherfucking show.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible.
I had to start with the KG comment for two reasons. First of all, I started watching Uncut Gems last night, finally on Netflix. If we're gonna do a what to watch thing, that's where I'm at. I didn't finish it though, so it's like 2 hours 15 minutes. I was like 40 minutes in. I was really enjoying it. It was a little fast paced for my wife. She wasn't really. She's not into like sports gambling, like, so she doesn't know all like the nuanced terms and like it's just like the way the frantic pace of it. It's not that she wasn't enjoying it. She just said like she was kind of confused, and then we were just like, there's still an hour and a half left. I'll just watch the whole movie myself. Don't worry. We'll just watch something else. So we agreed to that. So I do want to watch that. So that's why I put KG in there, because he's such an intense motherfucker and he's in that movie. But I was really liking it. Adam Sandler, he's such a different, like he's really good in what I was watching. So I want to watch the rest of Uncut Gems. But the other reason I put the KG comment is because there's been a lot of talk and speculation about the NBA specifically returning. All the sports leagues are really, in conversation about it. But the NBA specifically, a bunch of articles came out this weekend that were like, they said, that they're in serious conversations with the Disney complex in Orlando to do a version of bringing the NBA season back / playoffs back. Yeah. See, another thing about that is I woke up the other morning and one of our friends had posted that article, but the article was the same. Like I read the article on NBA.com. I read the article on a bunch of people posted the article, the quotes that are like, "We are in conversations. Nothing is official." And then this a friend of ours posted the article that's the same article, but the headline for it says it's official. The NBA is coming back at the end of July or whatever. Just journalism wise, that shit frustrates the fuck out of me, because it's like, clearly you had a headline writer that was different than the article writer, and that's a thing. That's a job. They have headline writers. I get it, but it's such a fucking lie. Because I mean, I've read the article, the same article, 30 different places, and this person just is the one to say, oh yeah, it's official. It's not fucking official. But it does sound like there is a very good chance that the NBA will be coming back, and it's going to be done in a very different, unique way. In that, originally we talked about maybe they'll be playing in their home cities with no fans. No, it sounds like they're going to do it much more like an AAU tournament type thing, and maybe have it all at the Wide World of Sports Disney Complex in Florida. Or also have some in Vegas and just bounce it back, because Vegas is where the NBA does their summer league, so they kind of have some familiarity with those venues. And obviously, I think I had mentioned this before, like you don't need a 30,000 person arena when you can't have any fans there. It kind of looks weird. It probably sounds even weirder. And keeping the electricity on in that building, like why would you do that? So the Disney Wild World Sports thing is in all likelihood going to happen. And to go into that, Charles Barkley came out with these comments I think it was yesterday, but it was on the cover of Yahoo Today, so I was reading it this morning. Somebody said he opened his mouth too soon. He works for Turner Sports, TNT, obviously. He said that he is 100% sure that the NBA will return. He's like, I have, talking with my bosses at Turner, we are sure that it's going to come back. So I mean, I'm thinking it's going to happen too. It's funny because we're at the end of May right now, so we're still 2 months away from what they're talking about. They're talking about like the end of July, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, a lot of things could change in there. There's another outbreak. This isn't happening, and based on, everything we saw in the Ozarks and everything yesterday, or over the weekend, there's definitely a good chance that there is another outbreak. And really briefly on the Ozarks thing, I went to the Ozarks for my bachelor party last year. I'm not surprised that they're partying there like that. I could have told you 2 weeks ago, like, oh, they don't give a fuck. They'll get down. It was a fun ass city. I'm just not surprised. I'm just not surprised by that shit. So everybody's acting like they're surprised. It is what it is. My thing about that is, whatever. Do whatever the fuck you're gonna do. It's clearly not the right thing. Just don't go see your fucking grandma after this. Don't go see your parents right after. Take a couple weeks at the crib after this. You wanted to party, that's fine. Just go chill at the crib now for 2 weeks. All right. Just don't whatever. That's it on that. But so Barkley's saying they're gonna come back. They're gonna come back. I want to say that for those of you who haven't been watching this podcast or haven't watched a couple weeks ago, I posted just a screenshot of the first episode. I did a 4-part series to break down if the NBA playoffs were to start right away from where the NBA season ended when the hiatus began. I just went with that seeding with those records and went with that. And I did a breakdown round by round where I thought it would be. You should listen to it. If it comes down to that, where they just go straight into the playoffs, then those episodes will be valid to a certain extent there. So I think that's pretty cool. Also, when I posted that screenshot, I realized that was episode, I think 62 or 63. So since this is started, I've done at least 20 podcast episodes. So I'm proud that I'm making content, keeping it going. Just the concept of having it almost like an AAU tournament is interesting, because you're gonna have all these NBA players confined to a I don't want to say small, but the Disney Wild World of Sports is huge, but it's still, it's not city to city. I mean, all these guys are gonna be in the same place. You're gonna be watching like a 2:00 Bucks versus Jazz game, and LeBron's gonna be in the crowd eating a walking taco. Second episode in a row I'm talking about walking tacos. He's gonna be in the crowd eating a hot dog or some shit, just watching the game. And that's gonna be cool to see, like wearing some sweatpants and a fucking tank top or some shit, which just reminds me of AAU tournaments growing up, and I love that. Here's the thing though. So the predictions that I did were based on the fact that the season ends and they just go right into the playoffs. Apparently, it sounds like they are talking about doing, like playing some games before the regular season. Are they trying to finish the regular season before they get to the playoffs? Seems so ridiculous to me. Like, why would you have the Bulls play the Atlanta Hawks like when there's a pandemic going on? Nobody gives a fuck. I mean, I would watch Zach LaVine versus Trae Young, cool, but like it's just an interesting thing. But I have to think that comes from the NBA Players Association. I mean, 16 teams make the playoffs, right? So that means 14 teams don't. Now, part of me would say, look, you guys weren't good enough. So you don't get to advance to this part, to the 16-team playoff where they come back and they play it. Now, the problem with that, though, is the Players Association, I'm sure, is saying these 12 times 14, whatever the fuck, 100, just let's call it 150-plus players on the teams that are now making the playoffs. They're not going to get those game checks. They need those they want those game checks, and that's how players get paid. They get paid game by game. And to me, the one thing I said was like, So if you want to mitigate risk for spread, you have less teams. So you do the 16. You do the 16 teams. You have the playoffs. You don't have those other 14 teams. Now those guys are going to get screwed from the game check wise. I get it. Maybe they make a fund. They divvy up some of the money, the revenue that comes in from this, and they do split it up amongst those players, and they get some bread. And then, so they don't complain as much about this whole situation. And then, obviously the teams that are playing going forward, they should probably divvy it up in whatever way they do it, and they still get paid normally. But I'd imagine it's all financial. I mean, it's every team. I mean, the Atlanta Hawks wants to make their TV revenue on that 2:00 Bulls Hawks game. They want to make that TV revenue. So that's where that comes in. It's a really confusing way to. It's just going to be so weird. To have the season come back 2 months later and have these under 500 teams play each other with no real meaning, with no crowd, and a couple people just talking shit to each other on the court. I'm definitely interested. I would love to watch. I'm a huge NBA fan, huge basketball fan, so I'd love to watch. In Barkley's comments, though, he also does mention he's like the MLB will come back. And did he say soccer? I don't know what he said. He said something else is going to come back. The NFL, nobody's worried about that. They think those guys are just going to go forward. That NFL seems like the most complicated to me because you have the most players. You got 55 guys on a team, and then you got a 50-person medical staff, or not medical staff, but just staff. And then the other team, you're gonna have 200, 300 people no matter what in the facility, no matter what, even with no fans. So that's interesting. But Charles said that he is sure that those sports are gonna come back. And then as far as college sports goes, he thinks they're just gonna have to wait and see. I think that's really interesting because NCAA football is one of the biggest revenue bringers in, especially for the South. I feel like all those SEC schools. So I couldn't imagine having a whole season without college football. I mean, even college basketball, but I just college football to me is even a bigger deal for especially, like I said, down south, especially for those. It just feels like a different beast down there. I mean, those stadiums fit 100,000 people. Then I say down south, but then you go to the Big House in Michigan, and they got 110,000 people or something like that. It's fucking crazy. So just imagining with no people. Well, there will be no fans. There's no way they're gonna have college football and just have these students come and watch, right? Can't see how that could happen. We're in a crazy time. We all know that. I just wanted to. I had to talk about those Barkley comments, and I want sports to come back, and I want to watch basketball, and I want to watch the NBA playoffs. You know what I don't want though? God, I hope they give it a different name. If they do the playoff tournament, okay. So if they do the regular format, so 7-game series first round, 7-game series for all the rounds. If they do that format and do a regular playoffs, they're going to still call it the NBA playoffs. They're going to call it the NBA 2020 playoffs. It just, to me, that's not, it's still not the same as, winning the finals. Maybe you do a different playoff format. Maybe you go 5-game series early on or something like that. You could switch it. Because what's going to happen here is whoever gets called the champion at the end of this still get called the NBA champion. I just think there should be a different name for it. They should do something different. But there's just no way that LeBron's going to have that. He's not having that shit. He doesn't want them to come back and do a March Madness style playoff format because even if the Lakers win that, there's two things. If they lose that, he's vindicated. He can just be like, yeah, this was some new thing we tried. It's no biggie. I don't think his reputation is tarnished or his legacy is tarnished from losing, a March Madness style tournament at the Wide World Sports Complex and at Disney World. I don't think that's going to ruin his thing. But if he wins the championship, I know that he's going to want to say, I won another ring. I won another chip. I know he's going to say that. And I don't know. It's just different to me. I don't love that. I hope they give it some sort of different name or do something more unique with it. I don't know. I'd be cool to see a little play. Even if, so they don't play any regular season games, they bring all 30 teams and do a weird, you do what do you call it again? Where everybody plays each other in your pool. And then, you do pool play and then you go into a tournament. That'd be cool. I'd watch that shit. It's not going to be the NBA playoffs and the NBA finals. It's just entertaining basketball. I would absolutely watch that. You look at those TBT tournaments, and those got a lot of viewers last year. Even the big three, those got a lot of viewers. People watch that shit. People want to see some hoops. Oh man. All right. Well, I'm excited. Let's see some basketball soon. And on that, I know I briefly talked about Game of Thrones, the last series, the series finale coming up. I briefly had mentioned a couple episodes from the first season a couple weeks ago. Well, that series finished. Just fucking amazing. If you're an NBA fan and you haven't watched Game of Thrones, you have to. Even if you don't like Game of Thrones. Now, it's a spoof of Game of Thrones, so you'll get it a lot more. But even if you don't like Game of Thrones, there is so much hilarious and just nuanced NBA info in these episodes. I just love it. My brother does not never watched Game of Thrones in his life, and he loves Game of Thrones. But the finale is so good, especially if you're aware of what happens in the real show compared to how they did it. Some people were tweeting how they liked the Game of Zones finale better than the Game of Thrones finale. I'm not going to argue with that, but you don't have one without the other because they directly spoof on the other. I just want to, for anybody who's seen it, I'm not going to give away any spoilers. I just want to say Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless is it's so good. It's Cersei and Jamie. I mean, it's so funny. So that's my note on that. So I'd say go check out Game of Zones if you haven't yet. It's so funny. And then briefly before I get out of here, like I said, I'm dropping another project this week. I'm really excited about that. Chapters. Make sure you go get that. I'm constantly trying to make music. But then, I kick myself for not being motivated enough and not doing enough. Maybe especially like when I'm getting ready to release this new project right now. Sometimes I'm kicking myself in the head. I don't even know if people say that. Sometimes I'm kicking myself because I'm like, man, I don't have enough leftover music for the next. Like I actually, in all honesty, have kind of already started my next EP. I kind of know what I want to do, and I have a song that's brand new that's completely done, and I have a couple songs, but sometimes I'm like, I don't know, it gets kind of nerve-wracking. Like when I release a project, I almost want to have another project in the like vault, just in the tank, just so I can just I know that it's a never-ending process. Sometimes my wife will be like, you're obsessed with this. You got to take a break. You got to keep doing this. And this is the kind of thing to me. It's like where this stops if I stop. You know what I mean? There's no machine running this. It's me running this and doing my career, and then you guys listening and supporting, which means the world to me. But if I stop, this stops. So I have to keep going. So you think of that. I only bring that up because I was watching a little bit of Kevin Hart was on Joe Rogan again. He's been on before, and I watched his interview. It's so weird because I was already. For some reason, I was just had YouTube on the TV downstairs, and like the Kevin Hart, his first interview on Rogan came up. I don't know why, it just like came up. Like the YouTube requested videos just came up, and it was just I was watching it, and I've seen it before. I'm a huge fan of Kevin Hart. Whether or not I love all of his comedy specials, I know growing up. I mean, not growing up, but on his come up, like Seriously Funny, all those earlier ones, like we were. We loved him. I seen Kevin Hart live. I always loved Kevin. Shout out to my man Clint, who really got us into Kevin Hart's earlier stand-up work. And so he's hilarious. But he's also, what I really like about him when I hear him interviewed and stuff, is he seems like just a regular dude, a genuine dude. But he also seems like really one of those go-getters. I mean, that's in that documentary he has on Netflix. You see it, like, there's no turnoff for him. Like, he just keeps going, grinding. He's just a really motivating dude, though. So I'm just starting his new episode of Rogan, and I'm in like the first half hour or something like that. And just his energy he brings in, he's like, no, I want to do this, I want to do this. It just makes you motivated. It reminds me when I feel like I was just saying, I don't have enough, I haven't done enough, or I haven't made enough work. It just gives me a little like, yeah, you're right, you haven't. You better keep it going. This shit stops with you. This shit doesn't stop. And what he talks about is paving the way, whether you like it or not, your job is to somewhat pave the way and create a new way for the next people. Like, you got to keep it going. You got to pass on information that you learn and keep the thing moving forward, and I do feel that way. Not that I'm like influencing a whole, batch of artists or whatever it may be, but I do feel that way. So you just got to keep it pushing forward. Like in my head, I have definitely thought like there hasn't been in my family, there's not like musicians and artists in my family. Although my dad's dad is a painter from Cuba, crazy like. So kind of that kind of is in there. But like for me, I thought about like there's not musicians in my family. So I'm like the first one when I'm trying this new thing and doing this. So I'm like, when I have kids, when I pass that on, then that's the second generation if they become a musician or an actor, entertainer in any way. Like you just pass it on. And then, 3 generations later, it's like, oh yeah, music's been in my family for, 50 years or 100 years or whatever it is. That's how things move on. That's how things happen. So I just have thought about that. What Kevin talks about, we're on a first name basis now. What Mr. Hart speaks about a lot is financial literacy, particularly in the Black communities and the lower income communities. But and he can speak to that more. I'm from more middle class for sure. But I do want to say that I like everything he was saying spoke to me so much. It's like, you need to have those. There should be classes in school that are like, hey, don't take this credit card when you get out of school. Don't take that credit card. Do that with that. Like, and he's just talking about like, don't take that free credit card right away. Don't do that right away. Don't rack up all this shit. He says, don't put the cable bill in your friend's name or in your cousin's name or whatever. Put it in your name or, do those things. To me, it's just, refreshing. And I'm sure for a lot of people moving forward, those are the things. You remember when Jay-Z 444 came out? And people thought, I saw somebody tweet something like this. People thought 444 was like a master class. Like he was just giving out, some of his financial tips and shit for financial freedom. And people were like, this is a master class. Because it's like, we need more of that. People need that. It just highlights how many people have no idea about a lot of this shit. And I think, and I think it's just super important. So I'm going to watch the rest of this Kevin Hart interview. And I would suggest, if you guys are interested, to check it out as well. Because, like I said, inspiring dude. I'm going to end this episode with this. It's on the same note of the Kevin Hart stuff, of the financial literacy stuff, I guess, to a certain regard. In my new EP Chapters, one of the songs is called Against the Grain. It's the second to last song. It's kind of an interlude. I almost called it the Against the Grain interlude, but instead I just left it as Against the Grain because that's a song, interlude, whatever. But I just want to leave with a couple of the bars that I have from it because they're important to me. Also, a little side note: there's 3 songs on this project that don't have any curses, and they're the 3 songs that I produced. So I don't know if there's anything to that, but they're the 3 songs that I produced. There's no curses on there. But I say, I just bought a new crib with my wife, about to turn 30, and I'm still rapping, right? You might think it's funny, but that's where my pride lies. I ain't never stopping, always on my grind. You can manifest all those dreams in your mind. Just be patient with it. Gotta dedicate your time. Yeah, I just want to leave it with that because those are gonna be. I think I'm gonna look back at that like later on in my life and be like the little I don't know. I might be a little emotional. I listen to some of my music and I tear up sometimes. Like when because I remember the moments that I wrote some of them, and I remember crying and writing some songs and shit like that. But this particularly is an uplifting song for me, and I've really made this adjustment, or I've tried to, where I don't know, I just feel better. I mean, that verse right there starts with looking in the mirror and I'm finally feeling like proud of who I am, sleeping easy at night. I just bought a new crib with my wife. And because I want to rap about those things. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about, I'm a 30-year-old, about to be a 30-year-old dude who's still rapping, not a uber successful artist by any means. I have people who watch my stuff. I have people who watch the podcast. I have people who listen to my music. So I'm super appreciative of that. But by any means, I am not a uber successful as far as big fans go. But I want to share but I'm 30 years old. I'm still making music. I've just bought a crib with my wife. And we're happy, and I'm happy. Like I'm in a good place. The only thing that to me that isn't killing the game is my career right now. So I'm trying to, blow that up. But I'm trying to keep perspective on the fact that everything else is pretty good for me. Like I mean, your shit is your shit. Whatever it is, whether it's not, you don't have a great relationship with your parents or something like that. Like your shit is your shit. You don't have to discount that to anybody else. You just, you acknowledge that. And I just trying to acknowledge that you work through some of that shit and you can come out on the other side type things. I don't know. That's all I want to say. I just want to say, go get Chapters. Comes out Friday. Go to thedavidlopez.com/chapters. And thank you for tuning into another episode of my podcast. I felt like some good rants on there. I felt like I really enjoyed myself talking to you guys today. And as I always do, I really do love doing this podcast, and I'm going to continue to do that. So I want to say one love. I want to say stay safe. If you did go out and party and do things with some people, I'm not judging you. I'm just saying be smart when you go see your family members. Try to be empathetic towards people. Try to think about what could be, what could happen, and what not, and those kind of things. And just stay safe. Be happy. Do your thing. Tell the people in your life that you love them. I don't know. That's all I got. All right. One love, guys. Be easy.